The purpose of this video is to provide some further guidance towards your group presentation on the assessment of your online investigation. This advice sits alongside the guidance notes that are already there formally on Blackboard. The guidance I can give is not prescriptive in setting out absolute format or content of your presentation, as all the groups are undertaking different investigations on different topics and in different ways. However, it's intended to give some broad guidelines as to how you might go about presenting. Overall, your presentation should last 30 minutes, and then there will be time for about 15 minutes of questions. Fundamentally, the project for you has been about undertaking an international comparison through collecting online information. And the presentation, at its core, is about your learning from undertaking this work. There are two components of that learning, each of which you should include in your presentation. The first being a comparison of the international findings on your topic area, and second, a reflection on the process and value of undertaking an international comparison in this way. I'll speak about each of these two areas in turn and some of the things that you might include in your presentation under that. So if you're comparing the international findings on the topics, you might consider what organisations or organisation you're considering that is trying to address the particular issue or topic area that you have chosen. How do these organisations differ in different international contexts? How do the aims of the different organisations or projects or programmes compare? And how do these different aims or similar aims relate to the specific context in which the organisations or projects are being delivered? How do the approaches to using sport or being involved in sport differ according to the different organisations or projects in the different contexts in which they operate? What different challenges might there be, or that you can identify in the different international contexts that you consider that may affect the impact or the way the organisation operates? These are just some suggestions, and again, they may differ according to your specific topic area, and you might not necessarily address all or even any of these questions. What you should do is consider the literature on your topic area. So for example, if you're addressing issues of health, then literature on sport and health will be useful. Other groups, for example, are addressing football academies, so you should go to literature on that particular topic. Your presentation in this kind of component could be structured in different ways. You might start with a literature review and then cover each country and context in turn, and then finish off this component with something like a comparison between them. Alternatively, you could identify a structure based on particular themes that you've identified, and within each theme go through a comparison of the literature and each country. This decision on the structure is up to you and depends on exactly what you've done and the information you've gathered. The second component of the presentation should be a reflection on the process and value of undertaking an investigation online in this way. Some of the questions that you could consider are about how you set about finding the information. What sort of information was there available? You could consider the value of quantitative versus qualitative information, for example. What framework did you have for comparison across the different countries and projects and organisations? And was this framework, did it prove to be a valuable one? Did the information that you could gather allow you to undertake an appropriate comparison? Why or why not? What limitations to comparison perhaps were there? Was the data limited in some way? Would you undertake the process of investigation differently in the future? And overall, perhaps, what have you learned from the process of undertaking this investigation? Would there be value to others, for example those working in sport, of undertaking a similar international comparison in the future? Again, you could consider integrate, and perhaps should integrate, some literature to support your answers to these questions. For example, it could be some literature maybe that you've used for your dissertation on research methods that would be valuable. In terms of the overall structure of your presentation, obviously we're expecting you to cover these two components. But the balance between the two depends on your own project. It might be in half and half, it might be more orientated to the findings. Other groups might be more orientated towards the reflection aspect. As a reminder, you should cover both components though. The order in which you can include the two components is up to you. And again, it's about making a choice on the most logical order of presentation of your information. I would recommend that you try and divide up the presentation and the investigation as soon as you can, so that you all make a roughly equal contribution to the presentation overall. A further and final point of guidance is that we're not necessarily expecting you to speak to bullet points on slides for 30 minutes flat. You can include video clips, pictures, other website information, depending on what you have collected. However, you should not include these things merely for their own sake, but as an indicator to the people viewing the presentation of what you found, and also for you to speak around and as prompts for your own points that you want to make and your own analysis. I hope this short video has been useful for you. If you do have any queries, do look at the guidance notes and also contact me for any further advice. Thanks for watching.